All right, folks, we are in Toronto hanging out at Boots and Bourbon with our pal, Wes Mack. Wes, thanks for doing this.
I'm here.
You nailed 2 Mason Jar sessions for us. Welcome back to Toronto.
Hey, thanks for having me in.
You know, it's been a while since we last sat down and chatted.
True.
I'm going to say probably around that 2013 timeframe. You've been up to a lot since then.
Yeah.
You got a brand new single, House on Fire.
House on Fire. Sorry, I'm letting you lead this. Yeah, you're right. He's right. He's right about that. He's also right about that.
And it's available on Spotify and iTunes.
It's
and
there.
Everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's doing pretty good.
And yeah, I was going to say, it's doing very well. Added to a lot of radio stations up here in Canada.
I'm a fortunate guy.
Maybe tell us the story behind this one.
Yeah, so as I was saying, I came off of the last record, Off Edge of the Storm. We did the Shania tour. We had, radio singles. We had this album up for Album of the Year. And my initial inclination was like, okay, I'm going to, get another album out quick kind of thing. And I remember I did one writing trip. I had maybe 10 songs pieced together and started thinking about, recording those up and moving them past demos. And within a week of that, it felt very wrong, and it felt like it was very rushed. And I looked at my first record as something that completely changed my life.
Yeah.
And that took me 3 years ultimately of writing. There's probably 100 songs that got condensed down for that one. And I didn't want to take 3 years for it, but I kind of gave myself the pause to be like, I'm going to take a year. And I'm going to write. And I wrote 60 songs. We did up 36 demos. It was kind of nuts at times, but superbly glad I did it. House on Fire was song number 58, I think, that was written in there. So we wouldn't have had that in that first 10.
But did it stand out more than the other 58 before it?
Yeah. Totally. I think when I got to about song 50-ish, that's when I was really getting into the pocket of writing for this record of it all started to feel cohesive, like it was all coming together. Sure. So, again, House on Fire was a product of, somewhere in the middle of that writing thing, I kind of had this weird mental moment. It was last summer. I was driving out to my cabin, and I throw on Alan Jackson every time I do that. It's the thing I do. It's Alan Jackson's greatest hits. And the first song's Chattahoochee. Okay, so it's one of my favorite songs ever recorded. And it's a zany 2.5 minute romp through, whatever's going on in there. And I remember thinking about it and that song means a lot to me, but it's kind of a silly song. And that was this weird piece of permission of that, I think after Duet was the song that started my career off, I felt this pressure after that to be I gotta be a serious artist. I can't just have another fun, have a good time. And I actively steered away from that kind of stuff. And I remember listening to that on the way up there and being why not? I can write about whatever I want. And all of a sudden the writing sessions after that became way more fun. It was sometimes we wrote a serious song, sometimes we wrote a zany song, and that felt good too. And that was when all of a sudden House on Fire is written literally about the craziest house party I ever went to when I was 17 years old, which I would have sort of dismissed that before. I was I don't know if I can do that. But I got in a room with a couple guys and just had a ton of fun with it. And literally as we finished the demo on it, and cut the vocals that day, which actually are the same vocals that are on the final thing. I sung 2 passes of the song on the demo, and that's what made the record. Something felt quite different about it.
Yeah. But do you think that those party songs, let's say for a live show, infuses what happens?
That was a
there?
big thing about this as well. So when I did Edge of the Storm, we all of a sudden got to go and tour that record. And that was the first time in my life I was up on very large stages and getting to do arenas and festivals. And you got to see what kind of songs worked well and what kind of songs maybe didn't work as well. And so the whole point of this record was putting together something that was really made to be played live. And there are still a couple of slower songs to it, but overall in every write, if I felt I really wanted to push stuff towards the live, because at the end of the day, that's where I want these things to live. It's easy to go and write a song that you feel clever about in the room, and it's a fun little song when you're in a 5x5 little room with a couple of guys, and then you put it up on a big stage and it just doesn't translate. And that's what I'm there for the show. I love playing live, so that's what I wanted to write.
Okay, so let's talk about that. You really enjoy the writing side. I know that. The producing, the engineering side, the recording side, and then the live show. What in this process would you have to say is the part that you enjoy the most? I
think the live show is the most fun. It is really cool when you get to sit in the studio and do stuff that you're never going to be able to do fully live. But on this one, the kind of difference was we ended up, I recorded this was produced by one of my good buddies named Jordan Orbeck, and I used a bunch of the guys in my live band to play on it, and I was in the studio for every day basically of tracking, as opposed to doing it more at a distance where you're sort of checking in on a record. This was I was very hands-on in this one, and it was very let's design this so it is geared for our live show. So and then just augmenting little things in there. But overall, I like being on stage.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Especially when they sing back those.
Yeah,
lyrics,
you get to hear that back, and it's like you think, oh man, I sat in a room a year and a half ago and came up with that, and now you know it. It's a weird sensation.
I was just with a fellow West Coast guy, Jojo Mason,
nice,
a couple days ago, and he said the exact same thing. You know, he's on his tour right now, and he says that feeling you get is just an incredible.
Yeah, it's quite a rut. I mean, like the first time I ever had that happen, like I played in a lot of bands in my life, and I played a lot of bad gigs in my life where you're playing to like two people who are passed out drunk on a table, and all of a sudden when when all of a sudden people like, I remember the first show I did where it was like I couldn't see anyone not singing the lyrics back, and it was a very like strange, surreal kind of feeling that like, oh, this song means something to you guys. Yeah. For me, I remember doing the meet and greets on the Shania tour and having people come up and say like, oh, well, this song helped me get through this, or this song, it means this to me, or when I was listening to this song the first time I did this. And I remember my first impulse was like, well, no, that's not what that song's about. Like, da-da-da-da-da. And I remember within a few days, I was like, no, I'm wrong on this. Like, it's not my song anymore. Like, once you put it out there, it belongs to everybody, like, just as much as to me, if not more so.
And they may have a different spin on
totally. And I want that. Yeah. That kind of gives you permission, I find, when you're writing a song. If you get a lyric that you're like, oh, maybe it's a little ambiguous, maybe it's not that clear. And sometimes I'm like, I'm okay with that. Like, everyone's going to come up with their own interpretation of it anyway. So it's like, let's have fun with this.
So House on Fire is obviously the first single off the album.
Yeah.
Do we have a date set for that album yet? Or can you?
I don't think so, because every time I've ever told anyone an album release date, I've subsequently been wrong. Yeah. And then I'm like, I'm just blowing it. But I think it's going to be in the fall.
Okay.
It's like most of it's done.
Yeah. So we're going to see you this summer on a few dates, hopefully.
I believe so.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Wes Mack, folks, thanks so much for doing this, Wes.
My pleasure.
Download his House on Fire on iTunes, Spotify, and remember, if you don't listen to good music, we don't like you. All right? Thanks a lot. Awesome.